Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Is my voice clear?
Yes, Pramazuki is here. We have another 4 minutes, right? Pramazuki, are you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So far we have 29 participants. Okay, I think we can start now. We open our session today by reciting Al-Fatihah. Welcome all to our session today. A session with Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Marzuki Omar, the head of our Department of Research, Education and Research from SASMEC. I'm Dr. Amelina Haidar Ali Tajuddin, represent Prof. Roslina today because she's still on MC. Will be the chair for today. I think without further ado, we can start our session today. I invite Prof. Marzuki.
Okay, let me share the slide first. Can you see the slide?
Yes, bro.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So thank you, Dr. Amalina. First of all, this briefing basically is brought by in collaboration between Office of Responsible Research and Innovation by Prof. Roslina and Department of Education and Research, SASMEC IIUM. So basically, this is just a brief briefing on guidelines in application for SASMEC IIUM research grant, or in short, SRG, right? So as you know, this is the second cycle of SASMEC research grant. The first cycle was, I think, started in 2021 for 2 years. So supposed to complete by 2023. But some of the researchers applied for extension. Maximum extension is 1 year. So completed in 2024, early this year. So just to recap for the previous cycle, right? This one the summary lah, right? So basically started in 2021 until 2023, extended to 2024. A total of 63 research project was approved. Out of these 63, 57 completed. One project did not complete, and 5 was terminated. So out of this 58, which was not terminated, 53 achieved output, the required output, basically just the publication, and 5 projects did not achieve the required output out of 58. So in the first cycle, 1.26 million was approved, budget approved by SASMEC. And out of this amount, the utilization is around almost 70%, 867,958 ringgit, with 31% balance, which was not utilized, right? So this is just to recap, right? For this year, the hospital administration has agreed to allocate 1 million, right? Slightly less than last year, the first cycle. So this year is the approved budget is ringgit Malaysia 1 billion, right? So that's about the first cycle of SRG. Okay, so for this round of cycle 2, So what we call SRG 2024. I will just give some briefing about the term of reference as well as some guidelines on for application. I think in the email and announcement is already put there. You can refer for further reference. You can refer to that documents lah. Terms of reference and guidelines for application. This one just to summarize. Maybe if you have any question, we can clarify lah. If you have any question, right? So basically, what are the objective of this grant? So because this is offered by SASMEC, so basically more or less is related to SASMEC lah, right? So the general objective is to empower research culture in SASMEC and IUM. That's one of the leading teaching hospitals in Malaysia. Specific objective to optimize the utilization of SASMEC IUM Research Trust Fund. So SASMEC have Research Trust Fund. So we can use this one for research activities in SASMEC and IUM. Number two, to maximize the usage of SASMEC research facilities. As I think you all know, we have a clinical research center, CRC, currently headed by Prof. Nun. So you can use all the facilities there to conduct your research. Number three, to serve as a means of funding in supporting staff research activities in SASMEC. So we want to celebrate or encourage the culture of research activities for SASMEC as well as for IUM in general. And lastly, to enhance the research activities, contributing to new research finding in medical and health-related fields. All right. So what are the research areas related to this grant, SRG 2024? Basically, medical and health-related research areas. So any research related to medicine or health-related, so it is the focus of this SASMEC research grant. And the research must be conducted in SASMEC, either the sole center of research or part of multi-center research activities. So if you have many centers, more than one, SASMEC should be one of the research centers, right? And the research should have impact on the social or clinical aspect, right? It can be social, community, or it can be clinical aspects, right? Related to the hospital. And then if your research have beneficial impacts to SASMEC, it is the priority, right? So if your research you do it for a patient of SASMEC and give beneficial impact to SASMEC, so this is the priority of the research to be approved. Duration, right? Same as the first cycle, is 2 years, right? 48 months, 2 years. Okay, eligibility. So who are eligible to apply for this research grant? So this research grant is open to all SASMEC IUM staff, grade 41 and above. So this is related to SASMEC staff. Number two, to open to all IUM full-time academic staff. So if you are IUM full-time academic staff, you are eligible to apply. If you are SASMEC staff, grade 41 and above, you should be eligible to apply. And then the research must include the team, the research team must include at least one SASMEC staff, right? Or an academician who practice in SASMEC, SPI or co-researcher. If the applicant is not from SASMEC. So basically, SASMEC staff can apply, IUM staff can apply. If non-SASMEC staff apply, they should have one staff from SASMEC or those academicians who practice in SASMEC as a co-researcher or PI. So in any project, SASMEC staff should be there, either PI or co-researcher. A staff is eligible for only one application, SPI, right? So if you want to apply SPI, only one eligible. But you can join other research as co-researcher. The team members should include at least one co-researcher, so you cannot do on your own, right? So at least 2% in one project. So one PI and should also include one co-researcher, at least. Next, at least one academic staff is required as co-researcher, right? If PI is non-academician, right? If you see the eligibility, SASMEC staff, not necessarily academic staff. So if they are non-academic staff, grade 41 and above, they can apply as PI. But if they are non-academician, they should include another team members who is academic staff to be the co-researcher. Junior applicants are encouraged to include senior academicians, so it can be mixed, junior and senior. So the senior can be as a mentors lah for the research project. And this grant is not entitled, right? For those who are on study leave, right? So those who are on study leave is not, or unpaid leave, are not entitled to apply for this SASMEC research grant. Okay, so regarding the budget, the maximum amount for one research project application is ringgit Malaysia 20,000, right? So you can, according to your research proposal, you can apply for the maximum amount of 20,000, right? Of course, the approved budget, it depends on your proposal, right? I think for science and technology, to include as a Myra point, I think minimum is 20,000. So if you want to have Myra point, I think you should apply for 20,000. Of course, you need to justify your budget proposal, right? Attending national conference is generally not supported, but right, it can be considered, right? National conference, training, workshop is not supported, but it may be considered if you fulfill these several criteria. Number one, your research output has been achieved, right? Later on, we will see the required research output. And that research output has evidence provided so that we know that that research output has been achieved. And there is surplus money to support the attending the conference, right? So you have still balance of money to support or attending this national conference, and it should be approved by the hospital director, right? So meaning you need to apply. You need to apply if you still have balance and your output already achieved. You want to go for any to present to any national conference, you can apply, right? So the approval is based on the several requirement as required, right? Okay. But overseas conference is not supported lah. That's one no lah, right? So attending overseas conference training workshop is not supported by this grant. Okay, so I hope you can see here the flow chart of application, right? So we are using RSMV2 Research Management System version 2 by RMC. The previous cycle, the first cycle, we do manually. So to reduce the manpower, the errors, right? To make the application is smooth and monitoring smooth and not much problem. So we agreed to use RSMV2. I think many of you are familiar with this system. So basically you need to submit through the system, right? RSMV2. So our Department of Education and Research will screen the eligibility. So if you are on study leave, not eligible, it will be rejected, right? So we will screen the criteria of eligibility. So if not eligible, we will reject the application and inform the applicant, right? If you fulfill all the criteria of eligibility, the proposal will be evaluated by evaluators. Several appointed assigned evaluators will review the proposal, and depend on the decision. It can be, if rejected, we will reject the application and inform the applicant. If the proposal is good, but maybe you need to revise a bit, right? So we may ask the researcher to resubmit, right? So that you can revise the research proposal. Or if your proposal is okay, no problem, recommended. So this, the evaluator will recommend the research proposal to the SASMEC Research Committee, right? So we have research committee, specific research committee, SASMEC IIUM Research Committee, who will review again the decision will decide and discussed on the decision by the evaluators. Okay, so the committee, SASMEC Research Committee, will go through and will discuss about all the research proposal, depending on the feedback given by the evaluators. And based on the decision, it either recommended or not recommended, right? It's not recommended, it will be rejected lah, and the applicant will be informed. If recommended, it will the proposal will be brought forward to. We have another committee, SASMEC IIUM Research Trust Account Committee, right? So this committee is headed by our hospital director, right? So this SASMEC IIUM Research Committee, who is responsible for the SASMEC Research Trust Fund, will review the proposal as well as the budget lah, right? Justification of the budget. And based on the discussion, the meeting, the decision can be approved, not approved, or conditional approved, right? So if not approved, we will inform the applicant. If maybe you need to revise a bit your budget, especially the budget lah, this committee basically focus on the budget utilization, justification. So if maybe you need a little bit revision of your budget, maybe it will be approved conditionally and will be informed to the applicant to revise accordingly. If the research proposal scientifically as well as the budget utilization, the justification is approved by the committee, then your research proposal will be approved lah. So our hospital director will issue research approval letter, and only then you will need required documents to submit. For example, letter of undertaking, right? All researcher or research project who has been approved will need to sign LOU lah, letter of undertaking, so that they can carry on their research project responsibly lah, right? And then once all the required documents has been submitted, you need to register your research through the system as well, right? Okay, so basically for SASMEC, SASMEC should be one of the center for site registration of the research, right? I mentioned just now the life cycle, we have 5 terminated project because they did not register at SASMEC as site research. Did not register, so they within the stipulated time, so they cannot carry on with their research lah. So it was terminated, right? So this is basically the flow lah, right? Next, research output, right? What are the required research output? So basically publication, right? Only publication, right? So you need to publish within the 2-year research duration, right? So this is the criteria lah you need to fulfill. Publication within the 2-year research duration. So what are the requirements of this publication? Only one publication in index journal, or one publication in MySite journal, or if non-index journal, you need to submit to publish 2 publications, right? You can refer to library website for the list of journal, index journal, what are the MySite journal, what are the index journal, right? SRG and SASMEC IIUM as monetary contributors must be acknowledged in any publication or publicity. So if you publish, you need to acknowledge lah the grant from SRG and SASMEC IIUM as the funder, right, the sponsor. And all research output publication, any publication from the research conducted in the hospital should have consent lah from our hospital director before you can publish the research output. Okay. And another important thing is the publication must be directly related to the research project, right? There are some instances in the past lah, right? They did one research project, they published another title, right? Another research project not related to the research conducted in the hospital. So it will not be considered as your output lah, right? So the publication must be directly related to your research project conducted in SASMEC. Okay, about the vote, I think this one just a quick briefing lah, because I think you can refer further. So basically, this is more or less similar to other grant lah, offered by the university, right? So depending on the word, for example, word 11,000 related to salary and wages for research assistant. So for this research project also, you can recommend appointment of a research assistant, either Malaysian or non-Malaysian. The appointment will be made by Head Department of Education and Research, but upon recommendation by the PI lah, right? By submitting and filling all the forms, related form and documents. For the release of payment for this RA, you should have a record of attendance lah. What are the research activity conducted by the research assistant? So approved by the PI. So once we have this document, you can apply for the release of payment for the RA. The RA should be appointed for only one research project. So at any one time, any RA can just be appointed for one research project, either a full or contract time basis, and should not be appointed among member of immediate or extended family of the researchers, right? I think all of you know about this, right? Next, 21,000, traveling, lodging, and transportation. So basically, you are allowed, researcher, RA, co-researcher are allowed to travel for the purpose of conducting research activities, right? Following IIUM policy. So this is just the standard IIUM policy on research, traveling, lodging, and transportation. Vote 27,000, research material and supplies, right? So only expenses for research material and supplies directly related to the project, you can apply and approve and can use the amount. And the purchasing procedure shall comply with IIUM financial policies and procedures, right? So this is the standard guideline lah, right? For research material and supplies. Vote 29,000, professional services, hospitality, and other services. So, right, so this include expenses incurred for services in the course of conducting your research, right? For example, you need some consultation with experts, payment for enumerators, you conduct chemical analysis, data processing, editing, proofreading, including the publication fees. Right? So if you plan to publish, I think many journals require some fees. They put some fees to be paid. So you should include the fees, the amount in this vote lah, vote 29,000, right? Cash advancements. So you can apply for cash advancement for a maximum of 30% of the approved budget. Once the research project successfully registered, so it does not cover, but it does not cover for vote 11,000 lah. A researcher who failed to return unused cash advances or proper substantiation of financial disbursement within the 24 months or upon completion of the research project, whichever is earlier, shall be subjected to payroll deduction. So basically, any cash advancement you need to report, right? And then to return, if you have unused cash advances, you need to return accordingly, right? So this, because we are using this RSMV2, so it is linked to HURIS, right? So if you have cash advancement, they will always give reminder lah, right? Until you settle your payment, right? If you have this cash advancements. Okay, so another important aspect of this research is report lah, right? Progress report, research progress report. So the PI is responsible to submit timely progress report every 6 months. Right, so every 6 months, that means for the 2-year project, you need to submit 4 times lah, right? Every 6 months. The PI is required to provide a written explanation to the SASMEC Research Committee should he or she fail to submit 2 consecutive progress reports, right? So we will remind lah, right? So every 6 months you need to report, and then we will remind if you haven't sent the report. So if you fail to submit 2 consecutive reports, we will discuss in SASMEC Research Committee meeting, and maybe you will need to explain, right, in writing. SASMEC Research Committee has the right to suspend, revoke, or terminate the project and retract the allocated grant if no research program report are submitted despite reminders, right? So just a reminder for us lah, right, to submit timely the progress report. Audit of research project will be carried out randomly from time to time, right? So this is part of our continual improvement, audit activities. Okay, extension, right? So you may apply for extension if you think you cannot finish in 2 years' time, right? So the request for research extension project shall be made to the head of Department of Education and Research for approval. The extension may be considered based on the progress report and clearly revised research schedule. So you should have your clear Gantt chart and timeline, right? How to complete the research project within the time, right? And only permitted, the extension only permitted for 2 times only, right? One, the first for the first 6 months, and the second extension for the next 6 months, right? So if you think approaching these 2 years, right, you cannot complete your research project, you may apply for extension. For the first extension is 6 months, so you may apply for the first 6 months, right? And then after that 6 months, if still not finished, you can apply another 6 months. That's it, maximum, right? So maximum is extension for 1 year, right? 1 year. The extension shall be requested within the 4 to 6 months before the expected date of completion. So 4 to 6 months before the 2-year project. If you think you need to extend your research project, you can start to apply, right? 4 to 6 months before the completion, expected date of completion. Okay, end of project report. Upon completion of the research project, the researchers are responsible to submit, okay, the end of project report to our department. And the project will be considered as has been completed once we revise, we verify all the documents, and the hospital director will issue a letter of acknowledgement of the completion of the research project. Financial report, also very important. Researcher is responsible also to prepare a financial progress report every 6 months, right? Same with the research progress report. The financial report also should be prepared and report every 6 months. And the final financial report at the end of the project for the purpose of closing the project file. Termination, right? So as we have experienced for the first cycle, your research project can be terminated, right? There are several conditions or issues which may lead to termination of the research project, right? Okay, number one, any false, unethical reporting by the project leader, any unethical misuse of the grant provided, if there is any non-performance in terms of progress and non-completion of the project, or researcher is dismissed or implicated of disciplinary acts, or if there is any variation of scope of project without getting prior approval from the SASMEC Research Committee, or if the PI, original PI, resign, retire, or pass away, right? Normally you need to appoint somebody else to replace. So if there's no PI appointed, so the project may be terminated, right? And the approving authority for termination of research is the hospital director, right? With the recommendation of SASMEC Research Committee, right? So you should take note of this, right? Hopefully this time around there will be no termination, inshallah. All right. So there's some glossaries here. You may refer in the original document as well, right? So if you refer related to journal tadi kan, the required research output, if you refer to our library, index journal is any journal index in Scopus, Web of Science, or Excellent Era, Excellent Research for Australia. My site journal is Journal Index in Malaysian Citation Index, right? Or any other journal not index is considered non-index journal, right? Okay. All right. So that is the first part related to the terms of reference, the guidelines, right? I will go on to just briefly, maybe some of you not really familiar. We are also using this one for the first time for our research application. So maybe we also still learning lah, right? Because we are using this one for the first time. But it for the time being, maybe you can try lah to use this system for application, right? So we are using IUM RSMV2, Research Management System 2. You can go to the URL, right, the link, and log in accordingly using your password lah, right? login and password. Okay, when you log in, depending on your responsibility lah, right? So you have dashboard. If you are a researcher, you can, on the left side, you can see the researcher button with a small downward arrow. Okay. If you are head of research for any kuliah, you also have tab for head of research lah. But basically, if you are a researcher, you should have this button lah, researcher, because anything related to your research, you will need to go into this button, researcher button. Once you pick that researcher button, right? You press there. You can see here the sub heading lah, right? Your profile is already put there in the system, so you cannot change, right? Request submission, project list, IP right, award, right? Postdoc list, cluster list, right? For application of the research, you need to press the request submission, the second row, right? Request submission, right? So when you press that request submission, it will come out something like this lah, right? Okay. You see in the middle there, tab for registration, research, financial. Some of this button is not functioning. It's still not active. I think the MC also still testing some of this function. But for us, just concentrate on the middle one, research, right? Research button. When you press that research button, it will come up like this lah, the subheading. Change of PI, reallocation of budget, research application, research assistant application, completion, extension, progress report, right? So the progress report I mentioned before, you can use this one to report your progress, research progress. For application, you just press the research application there, right? The third row there, research application. When you choose that tab, it will come out like this, right? Grant type, research area, right? And after that, grant type, all active grant, they already put there, right? For example, here you can see K8, IIT teaching material, and the last one is our grant, Sultan Ahmad Shah Medical Center Research Grant, SRG, right? So you choose that one. Research type, depending on your research lah. This one standard by RMC lah. They put their fundamental and applied, right? I think for clinical, most of the time you should be applied lah, right? Applied research, problem solving. And the third button is research area. This is also standard lah. There in the button there inside, so you can choose lah whatever relevant. Maybe you can see here health lah, I think, or anything relevant to your research. You can choose that one. Okay, all right. For example, here you put the SRG, apply, and health, right? Research area, and then you create. Once you create, you will have they will give you numbers like application ID there. For example, here this one just trial, right? 9041, right? So once you press the button create, so you will be given this application ID, right? So and then anytime you want to change or edit, it will already be there. You can edit, or if you want to delete also, you can delete, right? So next page is this lah, right? So all related to your research. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Number 1 is application details. Number 2, detail of project leader. Number 3, research information. Number 4, access to equipment and material, appendix, budget, form submission, status, and declaration, right? So you need to fill in accordingly, right? According to this heading, this section. Okay, for example, application detail already there I mentioned just now. Detail of project leader is yourself lah, your profile. And next one, number 3, research information, right? So you need to fill in this one lah. For example, research type, just now apply, research domain, health, sub-research domain, you can choose anything relevant for your research. Research cluster, if you are a member of any research cluster, you can put in, otherwise you can just leave it blank. National priority area also, in our guideline, we don't specify any priority. So if you don't have anything to fill in, just leave it blank or dash. Location of research, SASMEC should be part one of the sentence lah, if you have more than one sentence, right? Location of research. And then duration of research, you can just put any date from next year lah. We don't have any specific date for the start of the research yet. We will decide later, but basically we expect the research project will start in early next year, right? January or February. Right? You can just put January 25 for the 2-year duration. Okay. Next one is related to your team lah, participant. Basically your co-researcher. So you can choose this. Please select participant type. If you select that one, it will be divided into 2, staff or external. If your team member is from IUM, you choose staff. If external outside UIA, you can select the external button, right? And then you fill in all your co-researcher, right? Participant, your team. And then next one is standard lah. For any research proposal, you need to submit the executive summary, research background, problem statement, literature review, right? You just need to fill in this one. Description, methodology, references, objective of the research, okay, expected result. For us, basically output is publication, so you need to fill in lah, expected journal or whatever publication you want to publish. Any human capital, IP, maybe it's not so relevant, right? So basically the required research output is only publication. You also need to put the milestone, right? The detail of activities and the date, start date, end date, and the percentage responsible for this milestone, right? And then this you just to pick lah any relevant goal related to SDG, which one related to your research project, just tick whichever relevant, right? Goal 1 until goal 17, SDG. We also have Maqasid Syariah, so you can just tick anything related or relevant to your research project. We also have this KEGA, Key Economic Growth, right? Just tick anything most relevant, right? Most relevant to your research project from KEGA 1 until KEGA 15, right? And lastly, Malaysia Madani, any 6 Madani elements more relevant or most relevant to your research project, you just tick in, right? This one all standard in the system. All right. And then you need to submit all this one first before you can proceed to the number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7, and number 8. Right? Access to equipment, after you complete this section number 3, finish, only then you can have access to number 4, 5, 6, and so on. Right? Okay. Okay. Once you submit, or you can save as draft or submit, right? If you finish everything, you can submit. So it will come out to our office lah, Department of Education and Research. If you need time to fill in later on, you can save a draft, right? If you save a draft, if you want to get access to that section later, you can just go to the researcher tab on the left side. And then you start again. You search for this research tab, and then it will be there on top of your anything, any list there of your previous research. For example, here you can see lah, new research application submitted today, still draft, and you can edit. If you want to delete, also can. If you want to add more information, you can just select the edit, right? Edit button, right? and then you can complete your proposal, and once you finish, you can submit, right? Okay. Okay, I think that's all. If you have any question, like if I can answer, I can answer. If your question cannot answer, maybe we can refer to RMC lah, especially related to the system. Okay, thank
Thank you,
you.
Prof,
Yeah.
for the detailed explanation. We have quite a number of questions in our chat box. Okay, I will just read the question that haven't been answered by the representative from DEAR just now. Okay, the first question is asking about the devices bought for the research must be returned to SASMEC or belong to the PI, Prof? The devices bought through this SRG grant must be returned to SASMEC, or it can be it become the PI punya ni.
I think this one depend on your device lah. I think in general, any device, for example, for other grant lah, for example, laptop and all that, it is considered belongs to the funder, right? But it depend on the specific device lah, right? But in general, it belong to the funder.
Meaning belong to SASMEC, right, Prof?
SASMEC.
Okay, next question. Okay. Just to get clarification regarding vote 21,000, is it applicable for the researcher who stays outside UIA, Kuantan or SASMEC but needs to stay at lodge at SASMEC for data collection? They want to claim travelling fees or lodger fees. Is it applicable for travelling fees from KL to Kuantan?
Yeah, you can submit the application for any traveling. You can submit and then we will review the application. So basically, there's no specific detail lah. So any claim or traveling related to the research, you may submit and then we will proceed accordingly.
Okay. Next question is, can current PI for other grant apply for SRG or only open for non-PI?
We don't specify, but we have in terms of priority, we have scoring system, right? So if you are PI, it's already in the RMC system, right? So we know, right? So those who are already on PI still can apply, but maybe the mark will be less compared to those who are still non-PI. So non-PI, the mark for whether PI or non-PI will be more compared to those already on PI, right? So you can apply. So depending on the number of research project apply and all that, you still have the chance lah. So to answer that, you can apply.
Okay. If the project want to hire professionals for video recording and video making process, is it fall under vote 27,000 or vote 29,000?
Any professional
Video.
29, right? 29,000.
Professionals 29,000.
Professional
Is
services.
there, I want to ask Prof, is there any limit for each vote? Meaning that, for example, for vote 11,000, we put maximum is 10%, 29,000 maximum is 5%. Do we have that limit or there's no limit for each vote?
So far in our guideline, we don't have no limits. But the final decision it depend on the research trust fund committee to advise, right? So basically for us, we don't specify any limits.
And another question, maximum application per staff is only one project, right, Prof?
SPI.
That's right.
SPI.
SPI.
You can join others as co-researcher.
And then next, is the grant open for expatriate contract staff? I think it's only for permanent staff, right, Prof, just now?
I mentioned just now the requirement is full-time academic staff.
Okay. Can we use vote 29,000 for token of appreciation for the research subjects or participants?
Yes, I think I mentioned already just now. Any honorarium, appreciation, you can put under this one, 29,000.
Okay. For the national priority area, I think Prof have mentioned just now. Okay, Prof has
Yeah,
answered that
basically,
one
no
just
need lah.
now.
It's not compulsory lah.
No
Can
need
leave
to
it.
specify, right, Prof?
Yeah.
Next question. Can an academician on study leave be the PI for the project? I think this one Prof Mazuki already mentioned just now. Study
It's
leave,
better.
lecturer cannot be the PI.
Yeah.
But application been made using other staff name. But I believe the
The
one that
applicant
can
should
be
be
PI
the
is
PI lah.
the staff,
Uh,
not the staff.
Only the applicant we consider PI lah.
Yeah, but can the one that under research leave be co-researcher, Prof? Under study leave become the
They
co-researcher.
can join as
Uh,
co-researcher, but cannot apply kan? Cannot apply as
cannot
PI.
be the PI, but they can be the co-researcher.
Kalau dia on study leave, we might have some problem kan? If you want to do research PI.
Next question. There's a question for reference code in application details in RMS V2. What about the reference code in application details? I think that one can just refer in the MRS V2, right, Prof?
Yeah.
Reference code.
If you, it's not something is crucial. Reference code meaning what? Application detail. What about reference code? So I'm not sure this one reference code. But you can we can ask RMC lah.
A question from Prof. Roslina. For the budget, do we need to provide letters quotation like FRGS request before this? And does SRG accept animal studies work and we collaborate with PAM for the study? Animal study work, meaning fundamental study, I
Okay,
believe.
so quotation, lah, we want the latest one lah, right? Because you might have some changes in the course kan.
And the quotation can be attached together as
yes.
appendix, right, Prof?
Yes. Basically any research related to health, medical, conducted in SASMEC, so it's fulfill the criteria, right? And then can benefits you have social or clinical impacts, right? So this is one criteria. So when the committee review the proposal, is this research project have social impact? Yes or no? Is this project has clinical impact, right? So if yes, you can apply, right? And should include SASMEC as one of the research centers.
But how about the animal study, Prof? Because I don't think animal study can be conducted in SASMEC, right?
Yeah, I think SASMEC is more clinical. That means more related to the applied one lah, not really fundamental, right? So yeah, if any impact, that means social means normally more of clinical lah kan, clinical, social, and clinical. So if very basic, maybe it's not really have a high impact or can give benefit impact to the SASMEC directly for the time being.
Next question. Can we appoint RA for 2 years?
Normally, I think RA every year, right?
Also meaning every 1 year term and then renew the appointment
Yeah.
letter. Okay. Can one academic staff submitted 2 proposals? And in the event that both proposals are accepted, a new PI will be appointed for one of the research projects.
You as I mentioned before, if you are PI only can apply one only. One.
Another one should be as co-researcher, right?
Co-researcher. Yeah.
Okay. Regarding attending conference, you stated that it can be considered provided there is a balance in the grant. So should it be listed in the grant planning allocations in the proposal?
Should
it be listed in the grant as in the budget? Meaning during the application process, it already be listed under the
Conference.
budget, or wait later once the outcome already
You
fulfilled?
you can put directly lah. What are the
Uh,
expected conference you want to attend, right? So if you don't use that money, so and then your output already achieved, still have balance, so only then you can apply. So you can put directly beforehand initial application.
okay. Is there maximum number of co-researchers for one application?
No,
No maximum.
we don't specify any maximum.
But
Minimum 2.
minimum 2 must be from UIA, or at least
Minimum
1
2
from
meaning
UIA.
one PI and 1 co-researcher. So that's the minimum lah. And then minimum 1 SASMEC staff or those serving SASMEC.
Next question. Co-researcher. If the co-researcher is a postgraduate student, do we need to set it as the postgraduate student as staff or external? Postgraduate student.
Postgraduate student is not staff, right? Not staff student.
But we can put as co-researcher, right? But just put as the name as co-researcher.
Yeah.
But in the system, we have to specify whether the name is under staff list or external. So for postgraduate student, they didn't have the staff number. So I believe we set as external, right, Prof?
Yeah. Because when if you put staff, your all staff name will be there, right? Already in the system.
Yeah.
So if
Only
you're not
those with
staff,
staff number.
you're not there. If you're not staff, your name will be not there lah.
So automatic will be external, right? Okay, regarding the attendance for the RA, how the attendance of the RA shall be sent via RMSV2 or direct to dia? The attendance for RA.
Okay, this one I think maybe I can ask Sister Nisa to respond. RA punya attendance. Maybe she can reply later. So
Okay. We go to next question. Do we need to submit our proposal in Word document as supporting document? If we do, is there a template for the proposal?
okay, there's no specific template, but you just follow RSMV2 template. So you can write on your own based on that template, and you can also attach as attachment, right? So you can attach as part of the attachment your complete proposal, but the more important one is you should fill in the system accordingly lah, according to the heading, right? For us, there's no specific. The template is the standard template lah, following the heading of SMV2 just now.
Next question. Can under this grant pay a subscription fee for software?
Okay, we don't specify, but I think it depends on the use of that software lah.
That one will be under vote 29,000.
I think if
Professional fees.
it's very related with your research project, you cannot do your research project without this software. Some project they use the software as a part of the requirement. So it depends on the specific research proposal. So we can review on that application. So you can apply and then we can advise on that.
Okay. Next question. What should we provide in the attachment? Attachment is including your quotation, right, Prof, just now? Quotation.
Quotation.
Basically,
for the initial application, the most important one is you fill in all the relevant field. Attachment if include quotation, The others supporting documents, you can submit later on lah. For example, your LOU and all that, right? So that one later on. The most important is you fill in the required field. If we think we need you to submit some document, we will directly inform you lah. Right.
Okay. Actually, this question is actually repetitive from what has been asked just now about animal experiment study. Animal experiment study can be considered for this grant or only clinical studies? I think Prof answered already. Only clinical or social impact, right, Prof?
Yeah, not really very basic or fundamental.
What if the academic staff is an academic staff, but he or she is an expatriate contract staff in the kuliah, contract staff? Can he
I
apply
think,
the grant
as I mentioned before, the same as the previous grant, full-time academic staff.
full-time?
Full-time.
Is GCP a requirement to be the applicant? GCP. That we have to attach GCP in the attachment.
More important is any research conducted, you must have IREC, kan? IUM Research Ethics Committee approval. So if you want to conduct any clinical research, normally we don't specify you need to submit, but we expect all any research conductor, you need to have GCP lah, right? And require IREC approval.
Next question is the detail related to votes available in the budget section.
This one you
I
can
think
refer to
that one,
guideline,
yeah.
the email or in our announcement. In our website also we put that guidelines.
Okay. We can have a collaborator from external, right, Prof? For example, from IMR.
Yeah.
Okay. No issues with external collaborator, only at least one from SASMEC, right? Can research performed in relation to department of SASMEC other than clinical, using patients such as doing research related to lab?
Can
This
research
one,
performed in relation to department other than clinical? Yeah, not
doing
necessarily
research,
clinical, right? As I mentioned before,
clinical or social impact.
if sometime, for example, Sharia compliance, right, issues which has direct impact on SASMEC. So it can also you do on that or lab. Anything can give beneficial impact to SASMEC or clinical or social, you can apply.
Meaning that if I understand this right, I think maybe the one that he asked about research that conducted experimental studies, for lab experiment, for example, apa tu, study using blood test, urine test. So not involving, I think not really involve the clinical parameters, but looking at the blood test or blood other specimen result. Is it acceptable, Prof?
Yeah, some of the research you may do, and then the output you can improve the, for example, the service of the lab. Anything related which can give impact. This one we don't specify anything lah, but anything which can give impact, social, clinical, as well to SASMEC, you can.
Okay. Can PG student be appointed as RA under vote 11,000?
Yeah,
PG student.
11,000 is basically specific to GRA, Graduate Research Assistant. 11,000. So you can be appointed. If you are graduate, you can be appointed at GRA.
But if outside RA, Prof, can? Only UIA. Meaning RA from external institution ke? Do we
If
need to?
RA only, RA is under vote yang apa professional tu 29,000 payment for anything related to the conduct of the research.
Okay. Um, I think that's all for now. The rest of the questions has been answered by dear representative as well. Um,
Tak ada eh?
the RA must be from SASMEC or can be from other kuliah?
Can. Your undergrad UG student also can.
Prof, let me clarify again. The vote 11,000 just now is only JRA from UIA. But if RA out from external must put under vote 29,000, is it?
The 11,000 is for GRA.
Regardless of any institution.
Maybe Nisa can answer that.
Yes.
Yes.
For any institution outsider, they will use the vote 11,000 because we need to register them under the finance department later. Undergraduate student using vote 29,000.
Oh, terbalik. Okay. Oh, if okay, I repeat again. If GRA from UIA, we put under vote 29,000, and then from external, put under vote 11,000, right, sister?
No. It's like this. If it's external external research assistant, because we consider them mature student or outsider. If an undergraduate student only, then can use 29,000. Wait.
Okay. Any maximum rate for RA in vote 11,000?
Okay, for the rate, you may refer the RMC guideline because we follow the RMC guideline.
We use the standard rate lah, standard rate.
Okay. I think that's all for the question and answers, Prof. We have covered all questions, I think.
Okay, just for last note. So if you have any question, you can contact my staff lah in the office, right? If some of the question technical or very technical related to the IT system, we also may refer to RMC lah. So anything you can just approach our staff in the office. Okay. And another thing, we expect the evaluation and then the decision, it will take until end of this year lah, 1 to 2 months, right? For the evaluation of the research proposal, for the recommendation, as well as the approval of the relevant committee. So we expect the offer letter or the decision for those successful will be out early January lah, early next year. So we can expect sometime in January lah.
So the project will begin next year, Prof.
Yeah, next year.
So the Myra marks will be in for 2025 then.
But the application is from this year, but the decision January. Okay.
Okay, for the recording of the session, it will be shared later in the email, I believe.
Yeah, we will email you. That's why it's very important for you to register your attendance.
Okay, so to all those who attend can fill up the feedback link. Please fill up the feedback link.
From Azuki, can we get your slide? We'll convert that into PDF.
Can.
Sure, thank you.
I will email you.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's all for the session today. Thank you very much, Prof. Mazuki, for your time and very detailed explanation. hopefully we will receive a lot more application this year from not only from Kulliyyah of Medicine, from other kuliah as well, because I receive interest from other kuliah as well, not only com. Okay, that's all. Thank you, Prof. We end our session today by reciting Tasbih Kafarah wa Surah Al-As.
Yeah. Okay, thank you everyone.
Marzuki, thank you so
Assalamualaikum.
much for
Okay,
accepting
thank you.
my request.
No problem. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Mm.